Hi, my name is Kristen with Expert Credit Sweeps, and today I'm going to go over a couple short things, but they are going to be very, very important. I am going to give you a checklist for finding the best credit repair company and also how to protect yourself from being scammed. So wherever you find this video, there will be a link to the checklist. You can't read this one, you can't see because it is laminated. So when I look down, I am looking at the next point that I want to go over. So the first thing is, of course, that you want to be able to find a company that accepts debit and credit, okay? So it's not just that they accept debit and credit, it's that you get a receipt. It has the company name on it, what you are paying for, and that you didn't just get something where you can't put in what you're paying for. So for example, I find a company and they allow me to pay with my credit card. So that tells me, wow, I have payment security, right? That means that if services aren't rendered, I can call my bank and I can say, hey, I paid for X and it was supposed to be rendered on, X date. And it wasn't, of course, delivered to me, meaning services were not rendered. They'll give me my money back. But if you look at your receipt and it says services as described, that means that you probably were not paying for credit repair services. They might be a plumbing company, they might be a trade line company fronting as a credit repair company. You never know. So it's not just accepting debit and credit. That's like, oh, wow, this is a legit company. It's also the fact that it says their company name on the receipt, exactly what you're paying for, and that you're all on the same page. So an example would be if they are using, PayPal, which you cannot use for credit repair services, or Square, Google Wallet, any of those, anything that's similar. There's only two banks that allow credit card processing for credit repair services, and that's Chesapeake and Merrick. So there's a lot of companies that do high-risk merchant accounts, and it doesn't matter who they are, what their name is, they're only going to put you through two different banks. If the company is not with one of those banks, it means that they are not a legitimate credit repair company. Hey, they can be legitimate, but they didn't go through the necessary paperwork and the process to get their merchant account, and that's a red flag. So, if they're asking you to pay with cash, or that they only take bank wires, or Walmart to Walmart, Green Dot, Western Union, any of those, that is a huge red flag, and a light should go off in your head. So these are the things that you need to think about when you're calling these companies and asking them, what's your process? What's your pricing? How do I pay? What's my guarantee? You need to think about everything that I'm going to give you. And remember, you do get your checklist. So I'm either going to post it on the website or my Google Drive, and there'll be a link to it and you can just download it. And I even made it easy so that there's a yes or no next to each one, so that you can look at the bottom and say, oh, well, if there's more no's than there are yeses, I don't want to go with this company. Okay, so that is the first two: accepts debit and credit, and that on the receipt it says their name, their company name, and what you are paying for. So my company accepts debit and credit. So you have payment security. Remember, that's number one. Number two, it says Expert Credit Sweeps right on the receipt. So let's say that you called me, you signed up, and you paid a one-time flat fee for 6 months service, and your receipt is going to say Expert Credit Sweeps. Well, you're looking at me this way, so it's Expert Credit Sweeps. And it's going to have that it's for a flat fee for 6 months service, full coverage, for X amount of money. Okay, so you have the full detail on there, the company name, you know what you're paying for, and there's no questions. Okay, so the next one is so a contract. A lot of companies are not providing contracts, and they need to. So you, as a consumer, need to know what this company is guaranteeing you, if there are any guarantees, what they're promising you, promising in promising services and guaranteeing are two different things. And there's certain disclosures that are required within the contract. So that would be the limited power of attorney, because the company is doing the work on your behalf. Okay, that's something very important to know. When you hire a company, they will not submit disputes with their company name on it. It's going to say, your name, your address, your date of birth, your social, all that kind of stuff. And the return mail is going to come to you. It's not going to go to the company. Their name is never on there. That's very important to know. Okay, so limited power of attorney for credit restoration only. That's one of them. The 405 disclosure, basically saying that whatever the company does, you can do yourself. You do not need to hire somebody. It's the same thing as going to court. You can represent yourself, right? You can go pro se, but you normally want to hire an attorney so that you have the best representation, someone that went to school for it, or has a degree, knows what they're talking about, and knows how to basically manipulate the law so that you get what you want. So that's a 405 disclosure and a cancellation policy. So it's required that it's either 3 or 5 days from sign up that you have to cancel and get your money back. Mine's 3 days, which means that if you sign up on a Monday and cancel on a Wednesday, you're going to get your money back that I did not already put towards your disputes, because I don't just do normal credit repair. But with a normal company that's only doing regular credit repair 101, that means that what you're paying, you get back on the 3rd day. So the contract will stipulate what they're doing, meaning that when you sign up, this is what happens. They update you once a month. They'll give you these PDFs and resources. Basically, just stuff like that. Whatever it is, every company is different. So all of that needs to be on the contract. That's just paperwork. Going on to the next one, transparent pricing. So when someone calls me, I have a new system. I customize everything. So that means that I'm going to find out what's going on with your credit report, what type of negative items that you have, whether I can even assist you or not, because I am not one of those companies that just says, it doesn't matter what you have. I can help you. Oh, I don't need to see your credit report. It's 12 months that you're going to be with me, whatever. You want to sign up, and it's going to be, really quick, 3 months, 5 days, whatever. The company literally has to tell you exactly what the pricing is going to be over the expected course of time. Okay, so that means that if I'm saying that my program is for 6 months, that you have to know what the sign-up cost is, if there is a monthly cost, if it's a flat fee, are there any other fees that can be incurred, such as for extra items that come on, or if it's per deletion, is there a sign-up cost and then you pay per deletion? It has to be very transparent, because there have been companies that have been sued for not stating clearly that when you sign up, you pay X amount, and then, there's specific monies due after that. Mine is always very clear. It's always stated on the payment authorization or your estimate or your proposal or the contract or in emails. It's always very, very clear. Okay. So, and I mentioned the time frame. That's another thing. So you don't really think about how long it can take, because you're like, oh man, okay, well, this can come off overnight. That's what they told me. They're guaranteeing it or promising it. So most companies, it's actually a minimum of 12 months, a whole year that you're going to be with them. So unfortunately, it's a stall tactic. It is to drag you on so that you're paying month after month, unless, of course, you paid a one-time fee and they just suck and they're taking forever because they don't know what they're doing, or they're disputing wrong, or they're disputing online. So let's just assume that they're dragging you on. So they're going to only dispute a couple items per month so that you pay month after month after month. And, a year and a half goes by and you're like, wow, I only had 5 deletions and I still have 40 left. So you need to be asking questions about the expected time frame. And, a credit repair company cannot guarantee you specific removals in specific times, or that company A will be removed, but company B can take longer. It's the same thing as hiring a lawyer. He or she cannot tell you that they guarantee that they're going to get you, 3 months probation instead of 6 months in jail. You hire them because they are the best, and, for the money that you can afford, and that they can come up with the best evidence to prove that you're innocent, but they can't force the DA or the judge to agree to anything. They're just the best at what they do, and they have the best track record. So that's what you're looking for in a credit repair company. These are the questions that you need to ask. So we've already gone over accepts debit and credit, that their receipt or the invoice or however you're paying, that your document specifically states what you paid for, and of course, their business name, the contract, and transparent pricing. Make sure that you know whether there's going to be any other charges. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Communication. So someone called me today and was really, really surprised that I answered the phone. She said that she's called 17 other places and only 2 of them answered. And of course, they didn't know what they were talking about. She didn't hire them. And then she, went through a bunch of them and came to me. So I don't know why people don't answer the phone, but when I don't, it's because I'm one person with a couple assistants running an entire business, and I do have scheduled phone calls and everything, but I do call people back. That's part of having a business relationship. You have a service, you're providing a service, you need to communicate with your client. So what does the communication look like? That's one of the questions that you should be asking. How am I going to be able to get a hold of you? Do you only communicate via email? Do you only communicate on the phone? Do you accept texts? Can I find you on social media? If I send you a message on your website, will you answer it? Is it 24-hour response, an hour response? Do you call back same day? You have to think about these things. So what I tell my clients is that emails are answered within 24 hours, but they're normally answered within an hour. I do text my clients. I accept texts. I even talk to them on Facebook, and, of course I, do YouTube. So I respond to the comments on YouTube. You have to have a relationship with your clients, and you have to have a way to communicate and to address concerns and everything. So, one of the things that I provide that most companies don't is the same way that you're seeing me here right now. I do one-on-one video conferencing. Sometimes if it's with a company or a broker that has multiple prospective clients, I even do up to 10, or I do phone conferencing up to 25. So that's another thing. Next thing is, how do you know what's going on with your credit file? Are you getting copies of the disputes that are being sent out? Do you have a portal you can log into to see your statistics, what's been deleted, what you started with, what your scores were like when you first signed up, where they are now? Are you getting updates at least, once every 45 days? It should be once every 30 to 35 days, but it all depends on what type of disputes you have. If they're bureau only, if it's bureau plus creditor, if it's bureau, creditor, and collection agency, if you're making complaints. So all of those things, come into play with the time frame. It also depends on if you're, using credit monitoring, if you're going off of the annual credit report on the first round of disputes. But let's just assume you're using credit monitoring and you're doing regular disputes. It should be 30 to 35 days. So you should be able to log in your portal, like I said, and see what's going on, how many deletions you have, what those deletions are, when your disputes went out, and what they look like. So the majority, I'd say 98% of companies, do not provide copies of the actual disputes. Why? Think about it. These companies have to go and upload this information to your file, your portal, email it to you. If you do all of your clients in a couple of days, that's 4 days out of your month. It's not going to take that long, right? The reason that they do that, one of the reasons, is that they don't want you to see what they are doing on your file. They don't want you to be able to go and replicate the process, start a business based off of your disputes. And let me tell you, you can't start a business based off of your dispute letters. Just because you have papers in front of you that say, pursuant to this section, you have to delete this because the balance is blah, 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 and that balance is this. You can't go and figure out how to do a business based off of that and then go replicate it for someone else or duplicate it for your cousin or your mom or whatever. It doesn't work like that. I've been teaching how to do this for a very long time. And there are some people that my clients that I give all the information to, and they still require up to 100 hours. I'm talking like years to figure out how to do this, and 6 months before they ever get a client. So that's not going to happen. Maybe they're not doing any disputes on your behalf. Maybe you got scammed. I mean, those are things that you have to think of. Those are the things that you have to ask. I'm being very adamant about this, and I'm sticking to very specific points because they're the most important. Payment security, assurance, being able to have transparency and find out what's going on. The next one is, and I did go over this a little bit, what's the process and time frame? So are they only disputing with the credit bureaus? Are they only disputing, 1 to 3 items per month? So that, excuse me, I'm so sorry. So that you can be dragged on for, a year, 2 years or whatever. That goes along with being able to see your disputes, what's being sent out for you, if there's certified mail, all those things come into play. So the way that I do it is that depending on what you have, of course, I dispute with the bureaus, the creditors, and the collection agencies. I dispute all your negative items every single month and give you proof of everything that I do. You get the actual copies of the disputes. So that there's no question that I am doing everything possible to get those negative items off for you. Okay. So you want to ask when you're on the phone, what's the process like? How many times do you update me, or how often do you update me? And what do those updates look like? What's the expected time frame? So once again, you cannot have someone tell you, oh, it's going to be absolutely 100% hands down, hand to God, less than 3 months or 5 days, and absolutely those things are going to come off. That's red flag all over the place, and you're going to get scammed, okay? But what I tell my clients is that in comparison to other companies, that's a minimum of 12 months. My program is 6 months. So at 6 months, most clients are in a place where they don't need me anymore because they're either done, almost done, or we only have, like 1 or 2 items left, and we're already building their file out again. So, it just all goes into what this company is actually doing for you and whether they're doing anything for you at all, or whether you're just a statistic and money in their pocket and just a number. Okay. So, last thing is, will they do everything possible to get the negative items off? Goes with the last one about disputing with everyone that they possibly can, bureaus, creditors, and collection agencies, as well as making complaints with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Attorney General, BBB, FTC. Also, if it has to do with medical and they send the proof to your house that has, or even your PO box, whatever, they send it to you and it shows that you went to a clinic somewhere because you had an STD, and they send it on their letterhead and it's like STD Clinic of America or whatever, and you got tested for this, and this. They can't send that stuff because it's confidential. Your information is protected under HIPAA, so you can make a HIPAA privacy complaint, and they have to answer to that within a specific time period. That's also sometimes grounds for a lawsuit, all depending on what it is and if it can be detrimental to your reputation and all that kind of stuff. People bring up crazy stuff, in court. So, did it cause you emotional grief? Of course it did. So, you can't complain to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau about everything, but they are useful. most of the time. If the bureaus aren't responding and you've been disputing for 6 months, you only got a response once, I mean, that's a violation. They're supposed to give you your results. They're supposed to let you know that X company actually responded and that this has been verified and all that kind of stuff. So you want to ask, what is your process if company A and collection agency B doesn't come off, or they're in violation of the FCRA, the FDCPA? What are you going to do to expedite the process or to make sure that these things come off for me? Okay, so those are the most important, and the whole point is to protect yourself from being scammed. Okay, payment security, making sure that your receipt actually says the company name and what you're paying for. Okay, those two go together. The contract with the required information in there, the disclosure, the limited power of attorney, and the cancellation policy. It has to be within a specific time frame. They can't just say, this is what we're doing, pay me and I'll search your file. Transparent pricing, the process and the time frame, copies of what you're doing or what's being done for you, communication, and will they do everything to get the stuff off your file? So the reason that I'm telling you all of this stuff is, it's pretty obvious. I want, money to stay in your pocket, for your life to be, your credit life to be awesome, for you to move on, for you never have to contact anyone and say, hey, I have late payments or collection, or I didn't pay this, or blah, blah, blah. I don't want you to be scammed. That's why I give a lot of free advice. That's why people call me. I'm really, really good at what I do. I know a lot of stuff. I'm not saying that I'm the best in, the entire world, but I know my stuff and I can help you. So even if you do not come to me for your credit sweep or your credit repair, I want you to have the information that you need to be able to find the best company out there for what you're looking for and for what you need. So if you have not found the right company and you're needing help, I am also going to post below how to get a free 30-minute consultation with me, where we can go over your credit file, find out if I can assist you. And if I can't assist you, I will give you recommendations, or I'll tell you how to do it for free. So my name is Kristen. I am owner and operator of Expert Credit Sweeps. I really look forward to assisting you. And if you have any questions about this, please do not hesitate to contact me. My phone number will also be listed below, and you can access this wherever the link is below this video somewhere. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this, that you got information that you actually needed, and that it helped you. So once again, have a great evening, and I hope that I'll be talking to you and you soon.